Today we are going to talk about Keith Haring. Keith Haring is a really cool artist, kind of from the 80s. He does a lot of dancing people, black and white lines, and I want to show you some of my favorite works from him and some of his most famous works. So here are some works from him. They are very pop art-ish, okay? So he has a lot of UFOs, a lot of dancing people, a lot of dogs, a lot of really strong, bold lines. He opened his own shop to make art accessible to everyone, not just art collectors. So in 1986, Haring opened the Pop Shop, a retail store in Soho, New York, to sell his merchandise. The store offered shirts, posters, magnets, buttons, all with his artwork on them, and he really wanted to make art accessible to a large audience, and he opened another pop shop in Tokyo in 1987, and critics accused the artist of engaging in commercialism, but Haring really wanted to say that he's doing the opposite of selling out. Okay, he said, "My work was starting to become more expensive and more popular within the art market." He said those prices meant that only people who could afford big art pieces or prices could have access to the work. The pop shop makes it accessible. So he really wanted to have his artwork be accessible to all people in different walks of life and different economical situations. Okay, I'm going to include this video. I will include the full PowerPoint for you guys so you guys can go back and watch this video. Hopefully that will work out really well. Okay, so he befriended a lot of famous people. So he became very involved in the 1980s downtown New York scene, and he befriended visual artists and performing artists like Andy Warhol, who we talked about, and Madonna. Okay, if you remember back from a few weeks ago, we talked about Andy Warhol. He did a lot of pop art, and he did a lot of famous people as well, and he did a lot of bold, bright colors. If you remember, we did a Shrek project with it. That was Andy Warhol. Okay, so in a series of paintings called Andy Mouse, Haring depicted Andy Warhol with sunglasses and Mickey Mouse ears. So that is this down here. You can kind of see that this is a play on Mickey Mouse and Andy Warhol, and then it is in the Keith Haring style. So that meshes a lot of different artists all together. And he also tried to be a fashion designer for a little bit, and he made jackets and skirts for Madonna, and she would wear them at her performances. And this is a picture down here as well. So he was very big in the 80s. Here is another video that I will include in the PowerPoint. You guys can go back and watch it. It's just a short little animation of his artwork. Keith Haring is best known for his contributions in the New York art scene in the 1980s. His graffiti-inspired artwork depicted simplified people, dogs, babies, hearts, flying saucers, and he often painted bold and bright colors to convey a feeling of movement and radiance. He died in 1990 at just 31 years old, but his artwork and legacy live on. One more video for you guys. I will include it with the PowerPoint. Go back and watch. Okay, for our activity today, I have a full separate video on exactly what to do, but you are going to create a Keith Haring inspired artwork. So use a black marker and draw a Keith Haring on a separate sheet of paper. I have paper for people in class, but if you are online, just use any spare paper you have around. You can use white as well if you don't have any colored paper. So you're going to draw a person or a dog, and then you're going to cut them out. Okay, so make sure that you're using a black marker to draw the person or dog, and you want to show movement in drawing the lines. Okay, you want to have a lot of interactive lines. You want to have a lot of Keith Haring inspired lines as well. So then you want to do lines upon lines upon lines. Do not let the lines touch. Make them neat, bold, and nice and complete. And tape on the person or dog to make them pop out a little bit. I have some examples for you. So I have this guy as well as this guy that is already pictured. So this is kind of what your project should look like, but I have included a video that shows step by step exactly what to do. Good luck. I'm excited to see your Keith Haring inspired 10-minute projects. Thanks, guys.